Oh, Dom, come on and
Greetings.
tell us about yourself. What brings you to
So
how did you get here? What's your journey like?
before I jump into my story, I'm a very analytical person by birth. And when it comes to experiencing other stories or hearing other stories, I'm the type of person that, and I'll do this, most people find it odd, but I'll sit down with if I have some kind of paper or pen and pad in my hand, I'll jot down. And what I'm jotting down is if I could pick up some form of thematic statement from your story that I can resonate with. And so as I was sitting here listening to everyone's amazing stories, I actually literally wrote down everyone's name as well as what theme I picked up from their stories. And so if you wouldn't mind indulging me for
Oh, go
uh
ahead.
letting you guys know this. Um, LaQuita, your story, the thematic statement or theme that I picked up from it was healing for others and the healing that you received and are still doing with yourself through your work. It's also bringing healing to others. Sister Dawson, your thematic statement for me, there was one word that came up to my mind that was transformation. And that's what I heard, or that's the essence of what your story gave me, and literally from where you started and what you did to transform yourself to where you are now, beyond inspiring. Brother Man's story, there was a couple words that came up, but the thing that I kept hearing as he kept sharing his story was commitment to purpose. And your story, it literally, as I was listening to you speak and sharing what each of the events that occurred and the succeeding events, and then when you got to the end of what you finally concluded, yeah, you were committed to doing whatever it is that you were born to do. And so I appreciate that. Brother Patterson, your story, and you actually remind me, I was thinking the first time I met you, who you remind me of. I kept thinking, I was like, oh, when I see him again, I'm going to tell him. If you don't know who Jason Wilson is, if anybody doesn't know who Jason Wilson is, look him up. He's a bald-headed brother, and white beard, snow white beard,
Yeah,
but
that's
he
my guy.
teaches.
Jay,
That's
my
oh,
guy.
you already know who he is then. You
Yeah.
know what time it is. Comprehensive man. Yeah, that's what he does. He breaks down the barriers of manhood, black manhood, and tries to help brothers understand their masculinity, healthy masculinity, and how to balance both masculinity and femininity. So you remind me of him tremendously, man. But your theme was prepared to serve others, and you literally said it. As you were talking, I was like, oh, I, I picked it up. Um, Brother Dean, yours at the very beginning, I was trying to find it. I was trying to find it. And then you said something, and then I picked it up. Greatness looks different for everyone. You thought you were going to be this, this greatness here. That's what you had in your head. But you know what I'm saying? You were directed or diverted to another greatness. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I truly value every last one of your stories. And anybody who shares their story with me, I'm beyond humbled. I don't care how old, it's from a kid to an elder. But for me, my story begins in Haiti, the island of Haiti, or the country of Haiti rather, considered by some so-called poorest nation on the Western Hemisphere. And when I migrated here to the US in the late 80s with my parents and my brother at the time, before I moved to the US, I knew nothing of racism. I've never heard of racism. I've never experienced it. I didn't know there was even a word that existed that was foreign to me. I don't know what that was until I literally landed in Miami International Airport. And so, fast forward a little bit, I moved here in the late 80s. I did K through 12 in Miami. And once I finished high school, I joined the military. I did 2 tours in Iraq. I did 11 years actually to be accurate. I did 2 tours in Iraq, and once I left Iraq, or once I left the military, excuse me, I went into corporate Americas. Once I was done with the military, as most of my veteran buddies here will attest to, some soldiers when they leave, they have no clue what to do because they're not really prepared well enough before they leave and to come back or to integrate back into civilian life. So I literally was like, okay, all right, I did my time, I did my service. What do I do now? And so I went to corporate America immediately, and that's where I met you, LaQuita. My very first corporate job, literally, is where I met her. And so I dabbled in a couple different corporate spaces, doing kind of the same thing, finances, human resources, administrative departments. And then corporate wasn't doing it for me. I just the fabric or the fabric that I'm cut from, the type of person I am, corporate is just too cutthroat for me. So I was like, what can I do? I want to serve people. I want to be able to help somebody and make an impact, but corporate is not allowing me to do that. And somebody told me I did my undergrad while I was in corporate. Somebody said, well, you can use your degree to teach, right? I was like, wait, what do you mean? I said, yeah, you can use your degree to go into education. It's all right, why not? I'm the type of person, if it sounds challenging, if it sounds unknown, I don't fear the unknown. So I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. And so education called me. I fell in love with education. I've been doing it for 8 years now. This is year 8. And all throughout the entirety of this journey, I've been married twice, two failed divorces or two failed marriages. I'm on my third and last one now, and I actually struck the lottery with her. Um, I've got a podcast now. I wrote a book. I'm actually getting ready to publish another one at the end of this year, and along with the project, the men's anthology project with you, LaQuita. But I did all of that. I turned 40 last year. I did all of that before I hit 40. All of those series of events and things that I've gone through and experienced, and all the different places I've been to around the world and traveled, and did all that before 40. So I hope I'm not the youngest person here. But for me, my theme, as I'm sharing this story, the theme that is resonating in my head or that I'm pulling from my story, and I think that's what people also hopefully pull from my story when I share it, is determination. I've been knocked down. I'm very sure many of you have been knocked down as well in life. And I just refuse to stay down. I don't know what it is. I'm like, okay, all right, that's okay. What's next? What's next? You know what I mean? So long as I have this organ still beating in my chest, what's next? So I appreciate y'all. Thank you all again for your stories. And yeah.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Dom. And we met when I was working at the Kroger company. And I was in corporate, you were in corporate, and I left not too long after that, during COVID. But that's where we met. And we didn't talk for many, many years. And then bam, we reconnected just like that. Just like that. Just like that. Thank you so much. I love it. I love it. Mr. Lewendo,
Yes, ma'am.
tell us, how'd you get here? What's your journey been like? What
So
brought you here?
let me start with my names. Okay. My name in my father's native tongue, which is Tonga from Zambia in Southern Africa, actually means journey, right? And I was named after his father, my grandfather. His first name was Simon, second name was Luendo. And you have to understand the way the world was back then. This is colonialism going on. These people are being, have the European masters. This is their country, but the European masters are taking all these resources, right? My grandfather moved around a lot, trying to go from the rural area to the urban area, trying to, bring his children up. And so it feels like I've been on this journey, right, from Zambia to the United States to fatherhood to all these journeys, right? So many stories. But where I am right now is I'm gonna start with this statement. The United States of America is not fair to Black men, right? It's just the way it is. That's the way it has been. And maybe Dom, you probably know better coming from Haiti, like you said, you didn't experience racism. Where I come from, and then I grew up very sheltered. My mom was very particular about being very sheltered. My dad, he really didn't care much because he's 6'5", he's a big guy. He goes through the world just hitting everything, right? Not afraid of anything. He's breaking down barriers, right? An impeccable work ethic that he got from his father. So growing up, I grew up very sheltered, but there was a lot of mentoring. My father's brothers, my mother's brothers, my grandparents, church members. There was a lot of mentoring, right? So coming to America was weird. The America that I thought I was coming to did not align with the America that I landed in, right? It was so many things to learn. Racism, police brutality, all kinds of nonsense, right? And the important thing is to safeguard your life, right? And so I'm finding out these ways of safeguarding my life with not too much interaction with my uncles anymore, my grandparents anymore. Now, my dad lives in Columbus, Georgia, just 100 miles away. So he's been like my best friend all my life. But as God would have it, now I have a teenage son. My son is 13 years old. Having an African father and an American son, miss, and then we do meet, clash, right? And now I have to man him up. I have to man him up with the African way and the Handia way of life, but I also have to realize that he's American and he's African American. So I also got to encompass his way of life so he can understand where he is and who he is. And it is so hard to leave everything that you've learned and bend so that you can do the right thing for your child. And where I am now, 2 years ago, he went to middle school. And literally every day, I would drop my son off to school. I still drop him off at school. I've been doing this since the day he went to school. I drop him off every morning. I always tailored my employment, and I've got into problems in corporate, and I've literally said to them, I'm not doing this meeting. My son needs to be picked up. My son needs to be dropped off. That's the bottom line. And I've been fortunate to not ever got in trouble for that, right? And so I'm sorry if you can hear my dog. But so I'll drop him off, no problem, prep him. Hey, daddy, da, 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 we're gonna do this, study hard, study hard. And I would pick him up from school, and he'll be right there waiting, just patiently, just a great kid, just, because I'm raising him to be humble, to be kind, to be a nice person. And he'll get in the car, close the door, and I'll say, how was your day? And he would break down crying, right? His day's been rough. Kids are bullying him. Kids are calling him names. And I realized I've taught himself to fight the American way, right? To not care, to actually make sure he safeguards himself first. So I got him into boxing, boxing, and it's getting better. He's standing up for himself. There's been at least 2 suspensions so far, only because he used excessive force and he was not the instigator. And I'm good with that, right? At least kids now know that this child is not to be messed with, right? And now the path that we are going in, I have to do his manhood training on my own. And I need help from other men to hear their stories so I can encompass these stories, these wonderful stories in his manhood training, right? And I'm not, so we rely a lot on the Bible. Me and him have been studying the Bible a lot. We have Bible stories, book stories. And I'm gonna just leave you guys with this. I used to be very hurt and disappointed with the bullying, right? I'm a parent, it's gonna hurt me. But I'm looking at Abraham and his nephew Lot. They are called out of the land of Ur, right? They come to Canaan, they do their thing. It's not without its own problems, right? But in God's own infinite knowledge, he knows exactly where everything is to go, right? And then Abraham, he has Ishmael, right? And then he has Isaac. Ishmael's has to go from Abraham because from that line come our Muslim brothers, right? From the line of Ishmael, come our Muslim brothers. Isaac goes to his uncle Laban, he marries Rebekah, he comes back, he has Esau, and he has Jacob. Jacob suppresses Esau for the birthright. Esau runs to Ishmael. That's who he aligns himself with. Jacob has the 12 tribes of Judah. Joseph is sold into slavery. He has Manasseh and Ephraim. And I'm looking at all these great men and seeing they too had problems raising their sons. What makes me so different? If I'm going to raise the great son, there's going to be some sad stories. There's going to be some hard stories, and there's going to have to be a lot of lessons along the way to make him a great man. And that's where I am right now. Thank you.
Wow. I'm sitting here as you're talking,
And
LaQuita.
you know him.
I know him, and he is a young he's a young man. He's a young man, mannerable. He is a young man, and he's funny. I love him. I'm sitting here, and as I'm listening to you, LaWindow, and was listening to you, Dom, and Calvin, and listening to the men, that's and seeing how much what you guys offer is just a small piece that's missing in this big old world. Because if we had an army of men like you in every corner of the world, then we could see some changes. And so there are a lot of people, there are a lot of men who are like, I can't, I can't make a difference. I can't change. Well, no, I may not be able to make a difference in Chicago, but I can certainly make a difference in Riverdale. I can certainly make a difference with my neighbors. I can certainly make a difference in my community. And it starts with what I accept. And so when you stand for anything, when you fall for anything, when you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. So I am just so thrilled, and I'm seeing I'm getting messages, and people are saying I can't get I can't get on the show. I can't get on the show. There are people who are listening, and so guys, before I forget, if you can put the books that you recommended in the chat so that we can share them, because people are asking about those books. So just put the books, that your favorite books, in the chat, and we'll send those out, because I'm getting messages where people are saying, hey, what are the books so we can get them? I can add them and get them and purchase them. I am absolutely loving this. Willie, I saved you for last for a reason. Are you still there, Willie? Did Willie leave us? Okay, he may have stepped away. Are there's been a lot of conversation going on tonight, and I want to give a few moments for questions. Do you guys have any questions about anything that's been said for anybody that spoke? Dom.
Yes, I did have a question, but more so a wondering for Sister Dawson. In your journey of actualization with what you were ingesting in your body physically, what, besides the book that you recommended, which I'm definitely, I was looking on Amazon as you were sharing the book, and I added it to my book list. Are there any other resources, or I guess references that you sought out after? And the reason why I'm asking that is because I'm sure everybody here has heard of the name Dr. Sebi, and his work, his wonderful work. And so what was that like for you, going, like, actually saying, okay, I need to change something, but where do I start? If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for your question. So, the interesting thing is, I grew up kind of hearing tidbits about this, as Luendo shared. He's a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist as well. I was a Seventh-day Adventist. I became a Seventh-day Adventist when I was 9 years old, shortly after my mom got baptized. And part of the Seventh-day Adventist principles and beliefs is in whole body wellness, and it's all based on scripture. Starting at the Garden of Eden, when God created humanity, he gave them plant foods to eat, and it wasn't until after sin that humans were starting to eat animals. So before that, nothing died, right? No animals died or anything. But well, maybe another time I'll go into a little bit more detail on that. But what really made a big impact for me as far as getting started was, learning more and getting deeper into some of these things that I had kind of heard about, but didn't really understand very well. So as I started learning more, started reading scripture more and really applying it to myself, and learning more, from the book Ministry of Healing, and being around others who had gone farther than I was in their wellness journey, and learned a lot of different things. So some other books that I got to reading later on are books like The China Study. That one is not religious based, but it talks about the importance of plant foods and how animal foods actually can turn cancer genes on. Animal protein specifically can turn cancer genes on, and plant proteins in their natural form can actually turn cancer genes off. And that was just mind blowing. So it has been a progression of learning different things along the way. And I will say, I have, as you can see behind me, I have a number of books that have helped me learn. I also had a book called Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss. It's an old book. You can look that one up as well. That one has a lot of good information about natural remedies and incorporating plant foods and why, and all the things just broken down in a lot of really detailed way for us to just implement. You can use it as a reference book. So I love learning. I'm a lifelong learner. And so I just poured into as many things that I could get my hands on so that I could educate myself, because I realized that if I had continued on that path, I would become very sick. I would have to be on medication for the rest of my life or something. And for many of you, you may be wondering, well, how old is she? I'm 45. And many people look at me and they don't think that I'm 45. They think I'm much younger. But I truly attribute that to the lifestyle that I chose to live way back when I was 18 and starting that journey, and God's guidance throughout the way. Have I had lots of ups and downs? Oh, yeah. But you better believe I have. But God has carried me through. And I will tell you that the why has been, for me, the reason why I have stuck with it is understanding that my body is the temple for where God dwells. And that is the basis of what has sustained the changes. And the more I study, the more I understand, the more I appreciate what God has done for me and what he wants for me and wants me to implement in the world. It just continues to fuel me to continue doing what I've been doing. And someone said earlier about God building an army. And that literally has been something that God has been putting in my mind is, God is building an army of people who are willing to stand firm for truth, no matter what, are willing to, even with the wounds, have healed the wounds with his help, to continue to be on the battlefield spiritually, to continue to move forward and help others so they can be healed as well. And there is so much to life beyond the physical. And I know, as scripture tells us, God is preparing a place for all of those who are willing to stand firm and are willing to stay close to him no matter what. So it's a long answer, but those are some things that perhaps, we can connect offline here, and I can share more.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. And listen, if you guys want to connect, and we're going to tell you how you can connect with each one of the people on the platform tonight. Are there any more questions? Anybody else have any more questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay.
This is from my brother Dean. Hey man, tell me y'all ain't had that leather helmet, man.
Huh? Say it
Tell me
again.
y'all ain't had that leather helmet back then.
No, man. Man, I said Walter Payton. That was in 73. So yeah, he showed us that real football was. And then you know what? After Toby and Morris Brown, guess where he played?
Right.
In Chicago. So I got a chance to see him all the time. He he wouldn't remember me, but I certainly remember that experience because it changed my life.
Yeah. That them points would. The reason why I asked was, when it's funny because back then, right? Because I know when I hit middle school, my man Big Will, he had one of them old school. We used to play fun because we wasn't getting no time, but he had the old helmet. And so we
No,
wasn't getting no time in the 7th grade, brother. But that helmet,
it was plastic.
It was plastic.
Yeah. Because the budgets, man, those budgets weren't there for us. You know that.
It was,
man.
Hey,
man.
I had to take your chances. Take your chances.
Yeah.
Take your chances.
I had to ask that because that brought back that memory.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
I'm gonna have to jump off in a minute as I make it to our meeting, but I wanted
But
to say
before you go, tell us how people can connect to you, David.
you can catch me at drome7@yahoo.com, and I'm going to get my number out 608-343-0875. I'll take 300,000 phone calls. I'll just have to do them one at a time.
Yes.
Be
And if
patient
that
with me.
fails, you guys can reach out to us and I can.
Yes, and then I wanted to say, LaQuita, if I pronounce your name correctly, you know, when I got out the army, 37 years, you kind of, I don't like to use the term, but I'll use it loosely. You become institutionalized. So you have a mindset of a soldier.
Right.
And so I live, breathe, operate as a soldier. Discipline is everything. So I came out to my son, who asked me, I was going to move to Thailand. I actually wasn't coming back to America. I was kind of done with America. But the love of my son pulled me home. And, so I'm trying to feed him the elephant all at once. And it was my mentor that told me, feed him one bite at a time. That changed the nature of our relationship. I was putting him through what you wouldn't believe. And I can do the DI thing like nobody's business. And it's like my son was like, Dad, this is just a bit much. I mean, no, you hit the ball this way, you throw the ball this way. And at that time, I was pretty athletic. He in the gym. But I realized giving him time to grow as he's going through his developmental process and giving him bits and pieces, he's able to digest it in a way that now he's coming of his own. And so this is significant. We like to give our kids so much because we want them to get it right. But life is going to get you right. All you have to do is have ears to hear and have a presence.
Yeah.
My presence is there, even if I'm not there. When my cousin told me one time, man, when he heard he was on the phone in Iraq, he got straight real quick. So my presence is always there, like God,
Thank you.
So just feed him that bite once, and feed that elephant one bite at a time, and he'll be fine. So, all right,
and I get what you're
sorry.
So I was saying, I hear what you're saying because my dad, the African way is no questions, right?
Yeah.
No freedom of speech, none of that. You're going to follow what we do as men.
Right.
And that's the hardest thing. And now I have to listen to him. I have to understand where he's coming from. Yeah. So I get that. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. It's amazing. I'm going to be in touch. I got everybody's information, I think, from the chat. I always like to close with this when I'm with a people of groups. It does us no good to come together and chit chat. This is great. All of us have been 100 of these conversations. It only matters when we come together and we move as a unit. There's no, the fist doesn't come together unless all the fingers close up, and then it becomes powerful. Let's stay in touch. Let's get this knowledge. Let's get it to the world. Let's go on tour like the Motown Chitlin Circuit and make a difference, right?
Yes, I love it. Let's do the chitlin. Let's do the chitlin shuffle.
All right, guys. See you.
Thank you so much. Listen,
Right,
listen, it has been such a pleasure having you guys on the show, having you guys here and hearing your stories, because our stories shape us. And quickly, I want you to go around and say, how can people connect with you? Give them, your contact information so they can connect with you, call you, Google you, whatever. How would they connect with you? And Don, we're going to start with you. How can people reach out and connect with you?
Yes. So I dropped it earlier, but I'll restate it again. amazingnevernormal@yahoo.com. That is the email for my nonprofit. The website for the nonprofit is coming up in the next month, so that's going to be there. But amazingnevernormal.com. Phone number 646-648-1103. Again, the number is 646-648-1103. And Shaken Not Stirred is the podcast. You can stream that anywhere on YouTube, Spotify, anywhere that streams. So yeah, I look forward to connecting with you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom. LaQuita, how can people connect with you?
Okay, so my email is pretty simple. It's just luendo.handia@icloud.com, right? So you can reach me there. I check my email all the time. I respond. My phone number is 470-775-1402. The trick to that is I do not answer numbers I don't know. So please send a complimentary text message to say who you are and the purpose.
Call if you want to.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Kian, how can people connect with you?
You can email me at abundantlifeihc@gmail.com. That's abundantlifeihc@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Mr. Dean,
You.
how can people connect with you?
I just put it on the chat, but it's D Lillard, LILLARD 160 at yahoo.com. My number is 404-725-7333. And also, if you go to Speak Out World, and I put that on the chat as well, and entertainment and activists, it'll also pull up the shows that we put out. We put out about 16 shows, and it was the very first show that we won the Bronze Telly Award for. And so we want to get back into the podcast business. So I'm going to probably be tapping into some of you all, asking you all how to get back into it, because, man, I miss it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And Mr. Calvin Mann, how can people connect with you? Encourage me, I'm young. I love that song. I love that song.
Beautiful.
You know, LaQuita, I have today has been an incredible day.
Yeah.
This just added to it, right? I mean, I could start from 6 o'clock this morning, right? It's nothing but blessings. And so to be reached, you can reach me because I'm getting ready to start speaking, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to find me an agent, somebody, because of the information, of talking on fatherhood and boys and 39 years of success, right? So you can reach me at calvintman.com. And I'm about to put out my children's book is for sale. So if you need some books from March reading month, we got some books to sell.
Awesome.
But more important than anything, it's Calvin T. Man, Calvin with the C, T, man with 2 N's.com. Right? And hit me up. Let me come talk to you.
Yes.
I like talking to churches because everybody can't handle it.
The truth, listen, it said the truth will make you free. Some people don't want
to. Yeah.
They don't want to be free. Some people don't want to be
new information free. Hard to swallow. You know what I mean?
Right. That's right.
You heard Dave say,
listen, it don't go down easy.
Just give them one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
It's hard to swallow.
Absolutely. Willie, are you back? Are you there? Okay, Willie might have stepped away. It's late. He might have took a nap. Kevin Vaughn, how can people connect with you? And thank you so much for allowing us to use your platform to broadcast. So what's your story? I am grateful, forever grateful.
Absolutely, LaQuita. We are so excited. We're all family, guys. Bottom line, we're all family, and we all have a role to play to help each other grow and get to the levels that God has purposed in your lives. So I'm excited about that. Hey, I did want to mention to those listening all across the globe, I want you guys to contact LaQuita first, probably be the best way. Contact LaQuita Parks and ask about these speakers being on your platform. I wanted to put that out there, LaQuita. I want to make sure that people out there, if you have a digital platform, podcast, you have a satellite radio show, whatever you have in the media, I want you to contact these individuals sometime this year and have them on your show. We got a lot of people that have their own podcasts. They have their digital platforms. They have podcasts all over the world. They got their social media platforms. I want you guys to invite these guests, these wonderful people on your show. So I want to put that out there for them as well. Hey, real quickly, LaQuita, all they need to do is go to mltnetworks.net, mltnetworks.net. mltnetworks.net. That will get you information there about the Men Let's Talk Network. And I'm looking forward to serving you guys and helping you guys out. Can't wait to have Miss Dawson. Miss Dawson, you know we got to get you on.
Yes.
LaQuita, we're going to talk to LaQuita and have you on a regular basis. Calvin, everybody's welcome anytime to be on the platform. The goal, guys, is to do more videos. You got to do more videos. You have to push out more videos, and you have to be on more platforms. Right now, there's about 5.6 billion people on the internet, and they don't know we're here yet, but they're going to find out real soon. Real soon. So back to you, LaQuita. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I am so grateful. And again, I am LaQuita Parks. I'm your host, and I am the CEO and founder of PayProV Publishing. And PayProV, again, is pain, progress, victory, because without pain, there is no progress. And without progress, there can be no victory. So if you have a story, and I know that you do, because 100% of everybody living and dead has a story, I can help you take that story from a thought to a realization. And here's the thing, if it's not me, let it be somebody who is going to tell your story the way you want your story told. Now, it won't be free, but it will be worth it. Did you hear that? It won't be free, but it will be worth it. We have to quit. Kevin Vaughn has taught me that. We have to quit looking for free stuff. Okay, because you get what you don't pay for. Okay, we have to stop doing that. So if you want your story told, it is beneficial. Quickly, I did a show the other night where a young man, Kevin, was sex trafficked. He was human trafficked when he was 14, and he talked about them putting a gun in his mouth and was threatened to be killed. And people who tried to escape, he watched them kill them. And so young people, when you are all over the place and doing not listening to your parents and not connecting with your parents, and you grown because your parents don't know anything, life has a whole bunch of pain and sorrow to offer you when you go on a journey that you think you're ready for.
Right.
Okay, you are not ready for it. So listen to those people. And I know everybody doesn't have that foundation that they need, but reach out. There are a bunch of men on here who can help you. These men are mentors. They are mentors. Every single one of them are mentors. Young ladies, and I'm a mentor. And call me. I can connect you with some great people who can help you. Okay. So if you need to reach me, you can reach me at payprovpublishing.com. I am on all things social media: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And if that fails, you can Google me. Just put LaQuita Parks in Google and I will come up. I'll come up. I promise you, I will. There's another one that doesn't look like me, but I'll come up. Okay. So you can always Google me. All right. So listen, it has been a plump, pleasing pleasure. Better than a triple decker peanut butter and jelly sandwich to have you guys here tonight. And I'm grateful. For the listeners out there, it's been a pleasure having you. We will see you next month on the second Thursday in March. Same bat time, same bat station. With that being said, thank you. Be well. God bless.
LaQuita, thank
You're welcome.